Oh, Canada, my home and native land. A land that has produced great things like maple syrup and poutine. We also produced great cartoons such as Ed, Edd n Eddy and Arthur. That was a Canadian-American hybrid, but still counts. However, ladies and gentlemen, there is one juicy gem that makes me so proud to be a Canadian. Roll the clip, Johnny.
Hi, my name is Warren, and I'm just a kid like you, or I was until I found evil Gorgo's magic.
Fuck it, I'm moving to America.
You know, when I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of TV shows. Some were awesome, and some, well, you get the picture. So I guess it's time to ask, does this hold up?
Alright, so Monster by Mistake is a Canadian show made in Toronto, Ontario by a man named Mark Mayerson, who is pretty much known for nothing. This show is also co-produced with CCI Entertainment. The show starts off at an old abandoned house where a demon by the name of Gorgle is hiding out, hoping his servant will free him from his orb with the help of a jewel. While in the process of doing so, however, the servant slightly trips and the jewel falls out of the window into a passing by pickup truck. Seriously not sure how such a small trip causes all of this to happen, but anyways, we cut to the outside of the house where we see the owner of the house coming home, who is named Johnny B. Dead. Get it? Because he's a ghost? Heh. Heh. Heh.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
We then see Warren, our main character, outside playing with his remote-controlled car in the middle of the night. Because that's what kids do, apparently. When the same truck drives by from before and hits a pothole, which causes the jewel to fall right in front of Warren, who picks it up. As that happens, his toy car starts driving away and right into Billy Castleman, the typical cliche fat bully. Seriously, the most overused cliche ever. He pushes Warren over and runs with his car and controller. Warren's sister Tracy shows up and they go to get the car back together. Billy runs through the abandoned house and out the window with just enough time for Warren and Tracy to get into the house, but not to see him leave. Warren and Tracy search the house by going up to the room Gorgle is in, and Warren decides to show Tracy the jewel he found outside right there and then because of plot convenience. And Gorgle convinces them to read out of the book to free him by telling him he will die if he isn't freed. So Warren does this but gets shocked by the jewel. Gorgle then freaks on the kids, who run and leave. Once on the road, Warren sneezes and becomes a monster by mistake. I wish I swear it ended. Tracy then comes to the obvious conclusion that the electric shock from the jewel caused Warren to become a monster whenever he sneezes, which is awesome because he has allergies constantly. Then we see Warren's car roll by and Billy shows up, and I couldn't care less what happens here. But long story short, he gets the car back. They go back to the house to get the book, so Tracy can try to figure out how to reverse the spell when they meet Johnny B. Dead, who after scaring them, decides to help them by going to get the book and bitch at Gorgle, who makes Johnny touch his horn and makes him sick, which causes him to get knocked out. This makes absolutely no fucking sense. Johnny goes through everything else, but somehow not through Gorgle's horn, and somehow gets sick from it even though he is a ghost. Yeah, the show doesn't give two fucks about logic. Just as things seem like they can't get any worse, in walks Gorgle's servant, who ties the kids to a pole and takes a jewel and makes his way upstairs to free his master. But a spider lands on Warren's face, which causes him to sneeze and turn into a monster. They run upstairs, lean a board on a table where Gorgle is, and uses Warren's car to knock Gorgle off the table just before the servant says the spell. After that, they use some dumbshit to try and get the book and jewel back until they finally get it, for about 5 seconds until the servant throws Tracy into a wall, causing some wooden beams to fall and trap her. Warren then gets tossed into the couch and sneezes again to become the monster. By the way, he sneezes after he sneezed the last time to turn back into human. Forgot to mention that. He tackles the servant just after the spell is cast, which opens a black hole and sucks Gorgle and the servant in, as well as destroys the house. Quick question. What does the spell do exactly? It seems to just do whatever the caster wants it to do. Frees you from orbs, turns you into a monster, opens black holes. What's next? Will it cook me my fucking breakfast? This spell seems to just do multiple things. Once the house is destroyed, everyone seems to survive except the ghost, cause he's already dead. Warren and Tracy offer Johnny B. Dead their attic to live in, as he is now homeless, and then go home. Oh, and traumatize Billy, cause why not? And that's basically where the first episode ends. So yeah, that was the first episode of Monster by Mistake. The episodes in the show are, well, gotta be honest, I only seen one other episode after this one, and it was kind of stupid. Just about their mother thinking there's a ghost in the house due to loud noise in the attic and seeing him in the kitchen, so the mother decides to get a ghost exterminator, and ends up scaring them by being a ghost exterminator as a front to steal their shit. So Warren, Tracy, and Johnny B. Dead scare him off, but not before he gets arrested, and boy do I not give a shit about any of this. The pilot is the best episode of the series, and that's not saying much. The animation is pretty awful, the characters have very stiff movements, and just generally look ugly. This was very early CGI though, as the pilot was made in 1996, so I guess I can look past that, but it's still ugly to look at. To top it off, the writing is kind of dull and boring. There isn't much going on, and it's a very basic story. I watched this on YTV when I was a kid, and I remember thinking, it's okay. But looking at it now, I don't know what I was thinking. This is stupid. I mean, I will say the idea isn't too bad. A kid gets shocked by a jewel and now turns into a monster whenever he sneezes. I mean, whenever he sneezes part is kind of stupid. But other than that, on paper, that seems like an okay kids cartoon. But the execution is pretty bad. If they would have just done 2D animation instead of CGI and spent more time working on the story to make it better, then this might have been an okay kids show. But what we got is ugly and feels rushed. Now, the reason I only watched a small portion of the show, aside from the fact that I didn't care to watch it anymore, is due to the lack of episodes out there. Unless you buy the show on Amazon where they have all 3 seasons, it is hard to find a lot of these episodes. You can catch Season 1 on AmoebaTV.com, as well as on YouTube. There are also DVDs you can buy on eBay and whatnot. Aside from that, the show's kind of rare, but I can understand why, as the show is pretty forgettable anyways, and it's overall just not a good piece of media. This definitely isn't a good example of Canadian animation, and at the end of the day, it doesn't hold up. And that is another review in the bag. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more, please feel free to subscribe. Just keep in mind my upload schedule for the foreseeable future is just whenever I get a video done, but there will be content nonetheless. Anyways, I am Steelo95, reviewing my childhood, both the good and the bad. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.